name is Caitlin Akon. I played Enid on The Walking Dead, and you are watching Comiverse.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Into the Comiverse. This is episode 21. And guys, if there was ever an episode that intro fit, it's tonight. Because tonight we're going to talk about the music that shaped our lives. It doesn't matter whether it was rock, hip hop, country, polka, whatever. If it moved you, let's talk about it. Ain't going to be no genre bashing going on. And I am going to point something out that I thought was funny. Because I used that song, I mentioned that it was from a local band called Jaded Heart. Last week, I actually found the guitarist on Facebook. His name's Jason Moser. I believe he was the guitarist. And we were talking, and I told him, I said, I used your song, The Power Is On, for my intro for my live show last week. And when you ain't in contact with somebody, that's one thing. But when you actually find somebody, it was bothering me. And I said, can I use it in the future, or if you say no, I'll stop. He said, no, dude, go ahead. He said, I'd be honored. So I thought that was pretty cool. Nice. So I want to thank everybody for showing up, and I got a lot to talk about. I'm going to get a little personal later on, and hopefully I like my backdrop. So guys, how y'all doing this week?
Mighty fine.
Surviving.
Surviving the game.
Living.
All good here, bro. I'm all right, mate. But that's my South African. Trying different accents out,
I like them.
I'm gonna take a minute, say happy birthday to Rob Fat Stacks.
Happy birthday, Rob.
They played a beautiful video montage of the community wishing him happy birthday on this episode of Only Slabs Today. That was pretty awesome. And I'm going to go straight to the comments. And the first one is from Chris, the comic vet. He says, Striper. Yes, later on today in the episode, towards the end, I'm going to talk about why Striper's music and message have had a profound impact on my life. It's a story that only a few people know. So that I find that might be interesting for me to finally talk about that. We got Brian saying, let's go. Cliff, who's in the panel, says, hey, folks. Las Cruces from New Mexico. What's up, brother? My brother from another mother that's only 12 miles away, Timothy. What's up, buddy? And then we got Cliff again. And then we got TM Nerdy just sending out individual shout-outs.
Travis.
Hey, Trav.
We even got Mike saying, hey.
Howdy.
Everybody's saying hi in the chats, but that is all we got going on right now. The chat is fresh and caught up. So, folks, before we get into the main topic, y'all got any comics y'all want to show off? I've got a little stack of stuff I picked up today or yesterday, but y'all.
I mean, I have stuff, but there's nothing really that interesting, to be honest. Oh no, actually, I thought of something. Okay.
I was gonna say I don't even know if the stuff I got's interesting, but we can give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
My cigarette don't blow me up.
C-Bizzle.
Oh, we got C-Bizzle. What's up, brother?
Busting down doors. What's up, C-Bizzle?
Busting down door. I was talking to my brother. He's a big 49ers fan, and of course, I think the Lions are playing the 49ers. And he's hopeful, of course, that the Niners win, but he said if any team deserves to go to the Super Bowl. It's the Lions, and to hear my brother say that, it kind of threw me off. And then we got, was it Big Line Cat 646? Welcome to the show.
What's up? Big Lion Cat.
Hey, we got Digger Jim. How you doing, brother?
Is it what?
Is it
Is it Tigger Jim or is it Memorex?
Oh my God.
Right now, because now that I see the resemblance, I can't unsee it with him and his brother.
Oh Lord.
And I'm like the last person on earth to see the resemblance. I was so focused on Digger Jim looking like my friend Josh that I wasn't even paying attention that those two could look alike or be brothers.
What's going on, Durs? How you doing, brother? He said the most beautiful of legends is in here tonight. Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Oh Lord. I'm gonna end up getting us banned. Oh, never mind.
So I've got one book that I've found. I couldn't
well,
find the other one, but it's cool. It's a cool addition to the Hoot collection.
Hey, there you go.
Ooh, it's a pretty owl.
Yeah, we love a good owl cover.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
What's going on, Travis?
The Hoot goes there.
The Hoot.
I like it. I like it.
Like a snout.
I'm a big fan of owl covers, as you all know. And I'll say this as well. If anybody has the 1 in 10 of this, or I think it's 1 in 10 or 1 in 15, hit me up because I really want it and it's really hard to find.
How you doing, Robert Springs? I hope you're having a great evening. And that's it. Is that all you got? You say you saw you had?
That's the only thing worth showing.
Cliff, Mike, you got anything you want to show off? Let me get rid of that.
Not today.
Let me get rid of that Comiverse banner so that way we can see Mike. There we go.
Yeah. No, I don't really have it.
All right. Well, I'll just go with me. All right. So the first few of these I got out of the dollar bin, and I actually was surprised I didn't have this, but I got What If the Punisher's family hadn't been killed. I actually thought I had this, but when I checked my CLZ app, I realized I didn't. It's good to have that on my phone.
Wicked cover. I have that cover, yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. And I didn't even know they made any What If books for Galactic Storm. I might have to get part 2, but I got part 1 of that.
That was later on, right? That was after volume 2.
No, this is still volume 2. I'm assuming it's issue 55.
I don't have that issue. That's why.
And then I picked up a couple of these. I thought these were McFarlane covers. I may be wrong, but I got an Incredible Hulk 332. I know somewhere around in here, McFarlane started doing some pencils. And then 335. I picked up Amazing.
Like it could be a Todd.
Does it?
Kind of.
Yeah.
But then again, it doesn't. I don't know.
I picked up this Amazing Spider-Man 41, and the only reason why was because I skipped it. And looking at my app, it said 1 through 40 and 42, and that kind of irked me that 41 wasn't there. So I went ahead and got this variant cover. That was the only reason why I bought it.
Not bad. Not bad.
Then I picked up this second print of Ultimate Invasion #1 because I know there's some buzz about it, but I just actually like the cover, and I got it for cover price, so it's pretty cool.
RoboCop.
Shout out to Durs. Issue of Spawn. Really love it. Looking forward to 350 when we finally find out who's going to be the person that sits on the throne in hell.
He's chill.
And then the last one I got, I know there have been some talk about how they labeled it as a key on what key collector. I don't care about all that, but I got this variant of Crash Down.
That's cool.
Nice.
And
It's
being
still
a
key.
and being a yeah, I agree. And being a classic NES guy, I had to get the Metroid cover.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I read Crash.
I'm pretty sure I got both of those as well because I like that Metroid cover. It's great.
I read it. Matter of fact, I read it like an hour before the show, and I liked it. It's not earth-shattering. It's not groundbreaking, but it's still, I thought it was a pretty good story. So I'm going to get issue 2 and see how it goes.
Yeah,
I
I've been hearing good things, and like I know Ryan. Like I don't know Tom as well as I know Ryan, but I know
Mhm.
Tom's a good guy too. But Fire Guy Ryan, I've had him on my channel. I talk to him now and then, and I know his taste in comics, and I
Yeah.
know he's not going to put his name on something he wouldn't approve of.
And all I know about Fire Guy Ryan is through the videos I see him in with Comic Tom, but I've always liked watching him in the videos. So I mean, you get the general consensus that he's a pretty cool guy.
You never know who's going to be a good writer, until they give him a shot, And if the way I look at it, enough people thought it was good enough to get published, so
Hey, I mean,
Yeah, yeah. The fact that it got published in stores, like, and that their first comic, like right
yeah,
off the bat, is pretty impressive.
I mean, if I had a chance to write a story and get it published, man, that'd be like I'd be on cloud nine. We got
They have a
KBDM.
wonderful artist as well.
Was it Ben Templesmith did the art, I believe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like personally, because I can't keep track of everything anymore. I feel the initial outrage of why did you declare this the key of the week, right?
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Became completely water under the bridge by all these other folks who did the most terrible thing, which is bash a book they never read and tag all the creators in it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We got Robert Springs. He says he loves my T-shirt, and he got one of the Bibles that they threw out in the audience. Yeah, Robert, I actually got to meet the band in 2019. I took my daughter to a Striper concert at Graceland, of all places. They played the Graceland soundstage, and we were literally like 5 feet from the stage. It was a pretty cool show, and I actually, before the show, we both got to meet them. So I finally actually getting to meet Striper after 30 years. It was pretty awesome. So that was all pretty cool. I got a picture. I was going to actually make a copy of the picture and show it, but I didn't. If you look at my Instagram, I posted a picture of it like a few days ago, talking about the show. Let's see. Digger says he could not get behind the art, but congratulations to them on the book. Durst says 7 out of 10 for me. Definitely a fun read and added to my pull list. Yeah, I'll put it on my pull list as well. And he also said that he thought Ghost Machine was a big letdown. Now I haven't read it. I bought a digital copy of Ghost Machine. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to.
I didn't think it was a letdown, but I also knew I was going to get a bunch of short introductory stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so brief for each one that it's
right.
sort of.
I mean, I felt like it was a good introduction to the setting of each title. I felt like it did the job it was supposed to do for me.
Yeah.
And I was okay with it.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna throw him out there. Mike Spider Slayer on Comic Book Corner 2.0, he talks about how he doesn't like anthology stories at all, and even he was talking about how he liked that book. So I mean, that's pretty cool.
I mean, it is very, very previewy. Like it's like 3 or 4 pages per sort of comic they will be doing in the future, and that's fine. Like it's all good. It just introduces the worlds that they're in a little bit. I could tell which ones I was going to get after reading it and which ones I wasn't. So it did the job.
So, question: I'm behind on. Like, I haven't read any of Junkyard Joe. I read 1 issue of Geiger. Do I need to read the rest of those before jumping into this?
No, and that's the beauty of this, right?
Okay. All right. I might get a verdict to read before tomorrow then.
If you go the unnamed war route, you would have to, because they are all going to connect eventually. But like the other stuff that Ghost Machine did they're all separate. Like if you go the $5 side, that's separate. Like the Hyde Street, that'll be separate.
Yeah, Hyde Street looks great. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, it does.
Rook looks pretty cool, but I'm not sure I'm going to carry on with it. Like it's a bit sci-fi, and I just don't know whether it's going to be my bag. Like, it was cool though. I like the intro though.
Like Blade Runner mixed with Mad Max.
I was going to say that sort of thing's not your bag, baby. Well, I'm going to take a second real quick. I did this last week. This is going to become a feature. I picked 7 channels I'm going to give a shout out to, and I'm just going to play a short little video. And these are all channels that if you're not subscribed to them, I suggest you check them out and subscribe to them. One of them is our birthday boy, of course. So let's get this video playing. And yeah, like I said, like I said, I just wanted to, do a little quick shout out of some channels I think deserves, some recognition. And like I said, if you're not subbed up to any of these people, give them a sub and check out their stuff because they make really great content. And
Well, I'm not subscribed to any of those guys.
we got Kenneth Bird. How you doing, brother? Hope all's going well. I know he's got a big surgery coming up soon.
Yep.
So I have a question for the panel. Has anybody checked out Has Been Hotel?
Now, I've been watching Has Been Hotel for a while now because my daughter played the videos on YouTube forever. And now she started showing me that they're on Amazon Prime now.
Yeah, new cast and stuff. Like it has like Stephanie Beatrice is in it. She played Detective Rosa Diaz in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That has Keith David in it, and then it's a comedy horror. I wouldn't even call it a horror. I'd say a comedy musical. So if you like musicals, like the songs that they pick are so catchy, and even the songs that are like, if you really look at the lyrics, and you're just like, how is this an uplifting song? And it's an uplifting song. It's like I'm a loser. Like it's what was it? I'm a loser, baby. Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a great song.
By the way, I was expecting it to be somewhat weird remix of the other song, and it's not. It's its own thing. I'm like, okay.
I know my sister, my daughter pointed out that Brandon Rogers does one of the voices in it too. And if you're not familiar with Brandon, he is a treat on YouTube. He plays all these different characters from Bryce Tank Thrust to, it's just, he makes some crazy videos and they're funny as hell. But we got Kenneth saying it'll be this Monday. If you have no operations on my heart this Monday, thank you all for the good wishes and wills and prayers. Thank you so much for everybody.
Yeah, all the best, Kenneth.
And we got Godfather.
We'll be thinking about you.
Yeah.
Yes, we will. So y'all, let's talk about. Let's get on to the main subject. Well, before we start talking about the music, I know DVH doesn't care about WWE, but the Royal Rumble is tonight.
Oh, I do. I care. I'm watching it. I'm just not paying for it. Like that's I won't take away my enjoyment of it. I'll take away their money from me. Like that's yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know I've seen the announcement where Vince resigned because of some allegations and stuff. But
yes, last night.
Yeah. But who you think's gonna win? I know Roman will probably win his match, and then I figure I don't know the women. I'm figuring AJ Lee will probably come back, but
see, I'm under the impression she's really beaten up and can't wrestle anymore. Now, unless that's been quite fabricated, she was very injured. So
I didn't hear about that. I didn't know.
Yeah. That's why she retired so suddenly, really.
I know I seen some sparring videos she did with CM Punk, and she didn't look like she was injured.
Yeah, so maybe you're right, because I know that like Punk has been teasing it on his Twitter and stuff, so it could well be the case. I'd like to see her. Actually, DJ brought it up in the thread that we've got. I'd love to see Big E back. That'd be amazing if he was in the Rumble, because that injury was so devastating that I just really hope he can be 100%. It'd be great.
I'd like to see Big E come back and then just as a savage twist turn on the New Day. I don't think it'll happen.
That's never going to happen.
And out of all the people to win the Royal Rumble, who I'd like to see is, I know they're going to figure out some way to put Cody in with Roman, hopefully, but I'd like to see Gunther win the title and challenge Seth.
I think Gunther is who everybody seems to want to win. Mm-hmm. I think you don't tease The Rock versus Roman if you don't have The Rock versus Roman in the bag. So I think it's going to be The Rock versus Roman.
I was thinking that, and then I read an article where they said, see, I didn't know that Raw was going to Netflix. And
yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out how that's going to work.
Nobody did know until Tuesday. Like, it was a very closely guarded secret. So Tuesday it is.
And now they're talking about that they may save the Rock Roman match for Netflix. So I don't know.
I mean, it's possible, but
we lost the rest of the guys.
Yeah, well, there's the wrestling talk, isn't it? Like, it's a small audience.
I was gonna say, the guys, y'all come back. I'm done talking about wrestling.
No, well, that's good. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, okay, then let's talk about what the theme is about and the music that shaped our lives. I want to know. Well, first of all, I'm gonna go to the chat. We got Chaos and Comics saying, "I want Bret Hart and Lex Luthor in the Royal Rumble."
That seems like a long shot to me.
Hey, and Shop, fellas. Hey, I'm going to be getting Monday, hopefully, if the mail runs through, I'll be getting my commission from Shop. If y'all seen that artwork that he did of me and Brian LCS, I ordered a print of that, and I'll be doing, hopefully, an unboxing of that on Monday. Which I'll be filming the video on Monday, but it'll probably be another week before anybody sees it.
Does Shop have a shop?
Does Shop have a shop?
Hey, Shop, I'm not familiar, but send us the link and I'll have a look. Sounds good.
I believe Shop does have a shop. Yes, because I see people ordering prints from Shop, so it's great.
You can shop on Shop.
Am I having a stroke?
I'm not going to lie. I did think that Shop had a shop, but when I looked for the shop on Google, I couldn't find the shop. So I didn't reach out to Shop to find the shop. I could have,
You should have.
Yeah.
All I can say is just keep shopping.
Some Americans
shop.
Some Americans are approachable too, GVH. I don't know if you realize that that you Brits got like a little bit of a shout out on Still 35 Cents, but he was showing off all this cool 2000 AD stuff he got, and he was going on about how they're so approachable, they're so humble, and I'm like, okay, maybe we're not humble over here in America, we're approachable.
Shoppity shop.
You guys are great. Everybody in this community has always been very open and happy to see me. Some of you were a bit confused, I won't lie, when this turned up, but otherwise.
Shop says you got to shop to get the shop.
It's good to know, Shop.
Yes.
All right, my buddy Tim says, if you ever notice how times in WWE when a superstar takes a medical leave, you hear about them filming a movie or a TV show not long after, and yeah. Anyway, that's all the wrestling talk. We got Scott coming in from Chattanooga. Much love from Chattanooga.
Hey, Scotty. I don't believe you. It's a wrestling talk.
So don't forget to shop the shop, in the shop, for the shop.
For all your shopping needs.
Yeah. All right, that's enough shop talk. Oh, Lord, that's going to be the working gag for the whole show.
There are many already.
Yeah. Hey, guys, so I'm going to ask y'all. I'm waiting till last because I got a lot of stuff to show off that I got from different shops. So just anybody can start talking anytime they want. Growing up, what was some of your favorite music. And when I say music, it could be any genre. I mean, hell, I listen from everything from Rammstein to Amy Grant to freaking Willie Nelson and classical music. So I mean,
I was a Backstreet Boys fan when I was a kid.
hey,
When
Like
I was
I'm talking like 5, 6 years old. I was like, yeah, Backstreet Boys.
yeah,
Yeah,
I was like 11 or 12, and also had to hide that I liked them because oh my
Oh,
god,
everybody was everybody was open about it, and then also the Spice Girls, fucking yeah, Baby Spice
my,
all the way.
one of my brothers was a big New Kids on the Block fan.
See, that was like before my time.
Yeah, he used to get pissed off because I'd always mess with him and tell him he was hanging tough. He hated that.
as a kid, I was pretty staunchly like not a fan of pop music, generally speaking. So boy bands, they would drive me insane. All that kind. Now I quite like it. It's loads of fun, but like back then, I was too cool for that. I was all about Maiden and all that sort of stuff, which sort of brings me into what I was going to talk about initially. The first sort of music that really hooked me was metal. Basically, it was Maiden and Alice Cooper. I had a friend that lived a few houses down from me who was about 3 years older than me. So if I'm turning up at his house at about 12 years old, he's 15ish, and he was making me tapes and stuff like that. And Iron Maiden particularly, I can remember getting a tape of Fear of the Dark from the library. Yeah, and having it in my little Walkman cassette player and walking around at night listening to Fear of the Dark, and it's just a wonderful song. It really tickles the imagination. That's how you end up like this, kids. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Well, let me ask you a question, DV8, since you mentioned Fear of the Dark. Do you prefer the studio version or the live version?
I think the live version, honestly. I
I
love the live. It's a wonderful track. And then, so that sort of era, metal was where I broke into music as like a thing for myself rather than something that was just on around. And then I'd say when I was about 12, 13, probably about 13, like Offspring released Smash, I want to say. And I was well into Offspring, Presidents of the United States of America, actually before Offspring. Presidents of the United States of America were one of my favorite bands for years. I love them. I only ever got to saw them live once. Yeah, Peaches. Yeah, exactly. And then when I was around 14, I became obsessed with NWA and gangster rap from the 80s and 90s. Like, pretty obsessed. And then it sort of I would yin and yang between rap music and metal, basically, throughout the rest of my life. But I also like pop music and music scores, and I massively love synthwave now as well. Huge into synth. So your tastes change, don't they?
Yeah.
For me, I grew up listening to. Well, I discovered MTV in the mid '80s, and when they played music videos, and of course, I think one of the first videos I ever seen was "Sweet Child of Mine" and then Brittany Fox "Girls School." I was a regular disciple of the Headbangers Ball on Saturday nights. I watched it every freaking Saturday. I was one of the few people in my town that my mother watched it with me. I mean, most of my kids my age, their parents wouldn't let them watch it, and my mother watched it with me. So I mean, and that's how I got introduced to a lot of artists, whether it was Dial MTV or Headbangers Ball. And now I'm really showing my age. But for me, it started with hair metal. It was Def Leppard, Poison, Cinderella, Twisted Sister, stuff like that. And then I got to Iron Maiden. One of my buddies went, "No, dude, you need to listen to some real metal." And he let me borrow his copy of Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, and it blew my mind. And then I went back and listened to the other stuff. I actually didn't listen to the Diano stuff until I was an adult. And I might be one of those rare people that I love Bruce. I will always love Bruce. I have great respect for Bruce, but I love the Diano stuff too. It was only 2 albums, but I love
It's
Diano's
okay
work.
to like all of it. Like
Yeah.
Bruce is the GOAT. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. He's one of the best frontmen in history. But it doesn't mean that the other stuff isn't great. Not all of it is great, mind you. Some of it is a bit ropey, but like they all the albums have a couple of bangers on at least. So
Yeah, and Tim's saying he lost count of how many Saturday nights he stayed up watching MTV Headbangers Ball when he was in high school, and I had a feeling Tony did too. Yes, because anybody knows, Headbangers Ball was on for what, 3 hours. In the first couple hours, you got your regular glam stuff and everything, and then that last hour was where you got the really heavy stuff. I mean, like your Venom and your Rigor Mortis and your Slayer, and that's where it really tore loose. That's actually where I discovered Typo Negative, and I got a great love of Typo Negative was by watching, seeing Black Number One on Headbangers Ball, and immediately went out and bought the Bloody Kisses CD. So I mean, seeing a big old tall dude strapping a cello bass like he's playing a bass guitar, I went, "Holy shit!"
What the hell is this?
Yeah, I mean, I had to get it. I had to buy it. So, but guys, Mike, what do you think?
I'll go. So my story is a lot different than y'all's. A lot. Okay, so my parents are divorced, so I grew up kind of influenced by my mom's side of the music, dad's side of the music, and kind of what I was interested in. I was an '80s kid, so she was more into like '80s pop, and I want to say like stuff like Madonna and stuff like that. But then she was into
Yeah,
George Michael, and so I have a fond love of that side of like really now
yeah.
any '80s music I love. It doesn't matter like what genre.
I'd like to put
There's
this
something.
out there. I think Wham is the best pop band in
Oh, I
history.
love Wham. I took
Yeah,
shit for
Wham.
Wham. Wham was one of the bands that like I want to say all the way up into high school when people would hear me either listen to Wham or George Michael, I would take shit for, and I defend the shit out of both. Like fuck,
Oh, if you
Okay,
if you tell 14-year-old Hoot that he likes Wham, he's probably gonna hit you
oh
or at least swear at you. But
oh man,
this
um
age Hoot loves Wham.
my
Well,
dad was more. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I like Duran Duran. So I mean,
Oh, I like Duran Duran.
Oh, Duran Duran. Jeez.
Yeah. So no, I mean, but there's that's my mom's side is Duran Duran, Wham, Prince, Michael Jackson, a lot of that side of music was, and I could say everything minus country. And when my stepdad came along, that side came with it. But being in Texas and stuff, but my dad was more classical rock, like Foreigner, um, I'm drawing on my AC/DC, Leonard Skinner, that kind of stuff. He was more, and I want to say like traditional rock. As like a young kid, like most of the heavy bands y'all name, I don't even recognize the band names. Like Striper, that would be a first. That this would be the first time that I've ever heard of that band. But that's not to say I wouldn't like it or I wouldn't be interested to look into it. I don't view music like that. Like especially when I find someone that likes a certain band or a certain singer, it kind of interests me more to find out like why and kind of thing. Um, no, but I want to say like early on, I was really into doo wop music. Like some of my favorite song to date is "Stand by Me" by Benny King. I can remember going to like a Eckers, which is like a drugstore that we had in Texas growing up, at like before Walgreens and CVS and stuff. And they used to have they had like I want to say like 50 cent cassette tape bins, and I used to go in there and they had like classic collections of like doo wop, like Motown classics and stuff. So I mean, that was a big part of like I want to say my age from like I don't know 0 to 10. Where up until the time I want to say four really, but something like 4 or 5. But no, but there was a lot of influence on that. We had Back to the Future in the '80s, and that whole like Earth Angel, which is one of my favorite songs, comes from. I mean, a lot of the. and there was like we had Stand By Me. There was a lot of love for the
Yeah.
50s in the 80s. So it was like that was another side of it. But I've always been musically inclined. So I think it was just my first steps as far as like, okay, most of the people that I'm hanging out with are listening to pop or rock, but there's like 70 other genres. Why isn't anybody listening? I started just exploring and finding what I liked within, I still to this day, I'm still looking at other genres and stuff. But I want to say like if I had to pick a genre that was my favorite, it would probably be like alternative. Like I'm more Bush and Soundgarden but like three of my favorite bands or singers come from that era. Like Tool is my all-time like favorite band. James Maynard being my favorite singer. I love his other bands, Perfect Circle and Boost of Fire. But then Chris Cornell is definitely one of my favorite singers, and like I loved him with Soundgarden, Temple of the Dog, and Audio Slave. Um, Bush to date still together, one of the like longest running bands that are still going, like and still producing albums. Like I love Gavin Ross. I don't know. I but that's just where I start, and I'll leave it there because I can keep. I mean, man, music. I can keep on going.
Travis, Cliff, what do y'all got? What are y'all thinking?
I'm thinking how my musical journey makes absolutely no sense, is all over the freaking place, and I
No, man.
barely know how to put it into words. Like,
Yeah, you
so,
and me both.
so early life musical taste was my mom ordered one of those giant cassette tape collections from the television, right? So I'm listening to like Diana Ross and the Pips, The Fifth Dimension. Like this is what I'm listening to like young. Then all of a sudden, I'm not sure where the shift comes from, but then I'm like listen, it's the 80s, okay? But no, I am listening to Donna Summer and the Bee Gees. So none of this is boding well for me. I want you to know immediately. So then like, and I don't have like an official musical taste for like years, right? And then I was obsessed with Paula Abdul, so like of course, right? So that was it. I was doomed. And
Who
then
wasn't obsessed with Paula?
listen, man, you know what? Everyone like when everyone around you
MJ.
is like, yeah, you like her because she's pretty, and I'm like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, they don't know that I'm up in my bedroom singing "Cold Hearted Snake," trying to recreate the video. So like, there's that.
I want that video, man.
Me too.
Oh my
Can we go
lord, that's
back
a
in time?
now. Now all of a sudden, I got a visual I can't get out of my head.
Oh, so you remember my video for Rob's birthday? So like,
Damn.
I'm telling you, Mike, you got to watch it. So, so like, I don't know, it was weird. And then like I did get into Madonna and Wham, and then of course and New Kids was out, and there was like two girls on the bus who were twins, and we could talk about New Kids, but I couldn't talk about it with anybody else, and that was 6th grade. Like that was horrible, you know.
I forgot to mention this, because it was brought up earlier. Now that you're bringing it up again, but I myself was a New Kids on the Block fan. I wasn't like an outgoing but I did have two. I had both their albums on cassette, but it wasn't really me. It was my sister. My sister's a year younger than me, and she was a big fan. But like, I'm not gonna lie, like listening her to like, like I'm trying to Step by Step and like Tough Enough and like those like I got into those jams like.
You know, I really like that there was an episode a year or two ago of the Goldbergs, maybe 3 years ago, but it was where the two brothers were trying to make fun of their sister for liking New Kids on the Block, but they became obsessed with New Kids on the Block in the process. And I was like, yeah, that seems about right. And then when I was in middle school and I still really had out there musical taste, like I was listening to Rocksteady, and like my friend at lunch is like, what the are you listening to, Cliff? And I was just like, I don't know, I'm enjoying it. He's like, yo, there are other channels. I think he said something to me like there's other channels than VH1, something ridiculous like that. And then he gave me Pink Floyd's The Wall, and I was like, Okay. And like the first time I like played it, I was like, what am I listening to? And then like 3 weeks later, I was like, dude, it's like the best gift anyone gave me all year. Like you know how like back in the day, like when you got a new album, you listened to it for like 6 months, you know?
Yeah.
That was it. You were locked
Yeah.
into that.
I
So-
do miss that. It's a shame that you grow up and you have money
still
and
do.
stuff becomes more disposable when you have
It does,
money.
especially
Right?
now.
It's a shame.
It's
It's a
true. It's true. But Cher's Christmas song, DVH, I played that for a month straight. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. That was a
great.
proper Christmas hit. That was.
It truly was. But yeah, it was just like, and now now I'm not going to pretend I listen to everything. I do try everything. One of my friends listens to this very over the top, I don't even know what you call it because everything's going on, you know? It's like opera and rock and metal and death metal and God knows what. They're all blended together in layers. And I'm like, dude, this is equal parts beautiful and I can't listen to this.
Sounds tremendous. I want to know whatever that
like
is.
Weird groups, you know, like the Green Fog, and the song is, you know, Twilight, and you're just like, what is this? And then it's like, it's got this amazing, like, powerful opus opening, and then the guy starts going, oh! And I'm like, well, it was a good time.
It was fun while it lasted, and then it's done. I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, oh
Well,
my God.
I was gonna say, I'm just gonna point out that my buddy Tim said his favorite guitarist, Eddie Van Halen, he would have been 69 yesterday.
Oh shit.
Travis.
Go ahead, Cliff. Continue. Or Travis.
I was trying to make sure I didn't make a dirty joke.
Oh.
You can. We're adults. No
I was
kids
gonna
here.
say, I was like, I always look forward to 69, and I hope my 69th year is extra special.
Oh, yeah.
Here's another joke right behind it. So did he. Oh, sorry.
If I'm, yeah, you know, if you're happy and you know it. So like, yeah, no, like, yeah, Led Zeppelin followed shortly after Pink Floyd. My sister really liked the Beatles, so that was in the mix. Oh my God, what's her name? Carole King. My sister had that freaking Carole King album, and she had it in pristine condition. That and her Madonna albums were in pristine condition. You know, do you guys remember like back in the day, like it looks like our comic box, but it was like the rack in your home to insert my sister had them. They all had their own sleeve. I mean, it was legit. It was for a musical experience. And I remember listening to True Blue, Madonna's True Blue a lot. And again, these memories are not in order. And then when I got to and my brother kind of ruined hip hop for me. So I only started listening to it when I got to college. So like that was tremendous because I was getting to enjoy it on my own and not having it blasting in the next room at 2:00 in the morning when I'm trying to sleep. So that was a real treat, you know. My brother had his video once on MTV Raps or whatever. You can go find it, MC Essential, and anyhow, it's crazy. But all of that said, I don't even know what all that said is. All that said is also that's the shit I'm still listening to. That pretty much, I mean, I do give new things a chance. I mean, obviously, I'm listening to Lady Gaga and
I like
other stuff that you'll hear me, you know, talk about. But yeah, you know, I try to give everything a chance. You know, oh my God, and my precious Dolly Parton.
I like Dolly.
That came later too, but I love her.
She just released a heavy rock and roll album.
She did, and I love it. And you know what? She got a few criticisms for some of her duets, and she's just like, I love everybody, and everybody makes mistakes. And she's like, and she goes, I'm not canceling anybody. If I love you for who you are, even if I don't agree with everything you say. And I was like, oh my God, I love Dolly Parton so much.
Hey, if Pat Boone can make a metal record, Dolly Parton can make a rock and roll record. So
absolutely. Oh my God, look at Toy Gaines.
Yeah.
He's my brother. Yo, it's so funny. I almost forgot about my brother's studio in the basement, and Toy Gaines was on Comic Book Addicts and told this story about how Casey and JoJo ended up in our basement because they were hiding from the state troopers. And I just love that story. It brought back all these memories of my brother, like working with Todd Terry, trying to be a rapper, the studio in the basement. Like it all came flooding back to me. It was the best.
I do have those kind of musical experiences because we grew up around Mike Jones, Slim Thug, most of those Houston style rappers. My brother specifically, like, went to school with Slim Thug and like Paul Wall, not for long, but like, and we kind of knew Paul Wall. Well, I did, but not really knew him. I just, before he was famous, knew who he was. He was kind of a douche, but who we lose? Oh, Travis. No, but that was something else I didn't comment
Travis.
on. Was I was kind of I was really big into hip hop growing up, like, and where I was, it was kind of like, part of the rebellion thing in Houston. So it was really popular in like the late '80s, '90s with Snoop, Ice Cube, NWA, like that's where all my roots start. That's actually a big genre that I still listen to today and have progressed over the years, where I do listen to current, like, Travis Scott, or like, and I do have favorites from that.
Yes, Tim, I am aware that this is the 40th anniversary of Stryper's EP, and you're only as old as you feel.
Right? That's what I got to tell myself, all the
All right.
time. That, and I don't have kids.
I got to give a special shout out to my mom, Lois Northcutt.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
DVH.
Your mom, who was watching Headbangers Ball with you, dude.
Yeah, DVH. She's a big fan of yours.
I'm a big fan of hers, so that makes two of us. And Cliff's mom as well.
Yes, because every time she's like, she just is like, she's like, how does he do it? I was like, his wife does his makeup, Mom. She's like, unbelievable.
Yeah, apparently all moms love me, so that's great.
You know what? Because
I'll take it.
I think it's because you clearly look like you've arrived to have a good time.
I like to think so. Yeah,
And you sound like it too. He's got the energy to back the mask.
I didn't know Riley was in a band from Memphis. Wow.
Yeah, he is.
I feel like I should know that. I'm only an hour away from Memphis.
It's called Torn Apart. Like I haven't listened to it, but I know he's been trying to, like, because I don't think he has an Instagram. I'm not positive, but like, no, that's come up like a couple times where we're trying to hear his band. Like,
I had a look for it on YouTube at one point, but I couldn't work out which or what part it was.
I found
so, like, if he could link it to us, that'd be great, and then we can rock out to a band with a dude that we know. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'd like to support too.
Wait.
Yes.
I just saw that Legion of Comics comment. Ben Shapiro. What the frig?
Yeah.
Why, Travis? I was doing everything in my power to just ignore that and let it go. Why did you have to speak it?
Because it's foolish talk. It's foolish talk.
Of course, it's foolish. I'm just like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
And that guy's an ass.
Well, Travis, you got anything you want to add to it, or?
Yeah, I have a weird, complicated life with music.
Well, how did it start? 0 from 10. How
Well,
were you introduced to the
because
world?
like living in the house with my stepdad and my mom. My mom didn't have much taste in music. It was more of my stepdad would have like AC/DC, Sheryl Crow, the Dixie Chicks, and then through my friends, which were mostly girls, like I'd have like the Spice Girls always playing, or Backstreet Boys always playing, or Aaron Carter playing. Rest in peace, Aaron Carter. So that was like my childhood years. And as like I grew up a little bit throughout the years, always, you guys talk about MTV. Here in Canada, we had Much Music, which was the music channel for us. We had music videos play, and that's where like my pre-teens came into effect with like music from there. So I'd like hear like Sum 41 was huge. Still a fan of Sum 41. Loved them growing up. Avril Lavigne, Swollen Members. Who else? I even liked Hilary Duff when she came out with the CD. That was pretty cool. I liked her Christmas song as well. So it's ever whatever whatever I like the moment in time. And then as soon as like more of like junior high happened, like other songs came into play, like Simple Plan, Good Charlotte, those type of bands. Then I started falling in love with Iron Maiden, Metallica, all of these heavier bands. But at the same time, get into high school, listen to still Iron Maiden, Metallica. Then I'm starting to listen to Run DMC, and then also I'm listening to the music from High School Musical. So like, weird, right? So it's just like I'm listening to Iron Maiden, Metallica, then Run DMC, and then I'm over here listening to High School Musical at the same time. So it was like it varied. And then I would say in my 20s it got really weird because I started listening to a little bit more of like hardcore music. But that at the same time, growing up with Disney, watching Hannah Montana, the kid Muso came out with a song. I was into that song, but also listening to Atreyu at the same time. Was a big fan of Atreyu in my 20s.
Ooh, I do like Atreyu.
And Asking Alexandria, Bring Me the Horizon, stuff like that. I started getting into a lot of heavier stuff. And that's the same time I started to fall in love with Mariana's Trench. Love Mariana's Trench. Think Josh Ramsey's an awesome singer. Nickelback, Chad Kroeger signed him on. I've actually saw Mariana's Trench twice and hugged James Ramsey once.
wow.
So that was
The
great fun.
restraining order's still pending.
Yeah.
It's active. It's active.
Yeah, it's active. Yeah, we're not allowed in the same province as each other, which is kind of hard sometimes. If he comes on tour here, I have to actually leave the province. But yeah, whatever.
Follow TM's other YouTube channel, TM Stalker Nerdy.
Yeah. No, the stock. They're nerdy stock. Wait,
Yeah.
The Nerdy Stock.
I don't know.
He's creeping behind you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna I'm not sure I'm gonna highlight Dagger's comment, TM.
Yes, I did. No.
He tried.
Uh,
He tried.
And there was a moment in time where I was like into really heavy, like into rap, like to like like underground type of rap. I was started fall in love with Cryptic Wisdom. Was a guy I fell in love with. He did a lot of freestyle rapping in that. Bars and Boulders, if you check those guys out on YouTube, it's a bunch of just people like underground rappers like having a voice coming together and doing their thing. That was a weird time for me, but I fell in love with that for quite a while. But I've always been into vocals. Always been into vocals. I always loved that type of stuff. Like, of course, like High School Musical was like the start of that. I guess I would say actually the Backstreet Boys, hearing them and then Aaron Carter and stuff like the vocal type of things. I like that mostly. So you have High School Musical, have Pitch Perfect coming out. Like the vocal stuff. I started listening to this guy who does covers on YouTube, and he has his own band as well. It's called Boyce Avenue, like Boyce Avenue. Check him out. He does a lot of covers for a lot of bands and that. Great sounding guy. I love that band. But most recently, strangely enough, and this is where we end our journey, I've fallen in love with J-Rock. Japanese rock. Yeah. So that's just yeah. So
Hey,
funnily, that I was just going to ask, what's the last album that everybody bought? And funnily, the last album I bought was an album called by a band called Hanabie, HANBIE apostrophe, I think, and they're a J-pop metal sort of hybrid band. They're mental. I love them. It's real fun. So like the Japanese stuff is banging.
Ironically, I'll be showing off my vinyl of the last album I bought, which was Strapper. You
Fuck.
mentioned you mentioned Japanese. In the '80s, there was a Japanese metal band called Loudness that was pretty popular.
The last album I bought was a retro core band where it's like it sounds 80ish. I know Mark knows it. He asked me what the music was, but Gunship, Athena.
Oh, I love Gunship.
Man, I
Gunship's
love
amazing.
Gunship. Oh my god! Every album they've dropped has been just amazing.
I just wish they play live. It really annoys me. Like
They do.
don't play live.
They over here they do like a little bit, but like whenever
Gunship,
like
Gunship have never played live. They're
Yeah,
I'm 100% sure because they're former bandmates of a singer from Busted, and they were in a band called Fight Star, and they just stopped playing live after their Fight Star experience, and it's really frustrating because we really want to hear them live because they're great. I mean, Gunship are awesome.
I swore I saw like a concert.
Are we talking about the last physical album we bought, by the way, or like just an album?
No,
like,
just the last album you bought. You had to pay for it.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. So my friend
Digital.
Alan turned me on to Churches, and I like bought their whole digital catalog.
Who? Churches?
Yes, they're like a Scottish synth pop group. DVH is nodding his head. You know what I'm talking about?
I know them. I haven't got any Churches, but I've heard them.
Okay. I mean, I like them, but like a couple songs really surprisingly dug into some feelings with me, and they wormed their way into my heart quickly.
Check out the band LeBrock if you like sort of synthy.
I feel like
pop.
I've heard this before.
Yeah, me too.
LeBrock are really great. They're English again, and it's sort of synth wave, synth pop, metal-y, but not quite metal. You know, check them out on YouTube.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I told y'all incorrectly. I said vinyl. My last, I'm gonna do this real quick. My last one I bought was this is the last Stryper album released, The Final Battle.
Right.
Anyway.
That's great.
Oh, I forgot to mention a band that you guys might not know of. It was around the same time that I was listening to Linkin Park, and Eminem, of course. Was Prozac. Was a band I was listening to. It's a Canadian band.
No.
Of course it's Canadian. You know, in 2005, I was in Canada for my cousin Christina's wedding, and me and my best friend Carolyn are in our hotel room, and we're flipping through musical channels. And at this point in time, Canada now has a few music channels, right? And French Canadian reggaeton starts playing, and we cannot believe what we're seeing and hearing. And we're so taken aback because it's like, no, this can't be French reggaeton. It doesn't make sense. It can't. We like sat there for like 2 hours trying to break it down and figure out how this actually happened.
Yeah, Prozac it's different. It's like I don't know how to explain it, but it was good at the time. It was a little different. They never showed their face. Like it was the first like animated type of thing I saw. Like they were animated characters. It never really shown who they actually were.
So similar to like the Gorillas.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is way before that because I would have had to been 11. So this is like
Gorillas. I like
2000. Yeah, but I remember the Gorillas when they came out. I love the Gorillas too. And they came out when I was like 13. I want to say. So it was before them, and plus the Gorillas had better animation. Let me tell you.
Oh,
yeah. Well,
Prozac
Blur Bunny.
If you just type Prozac music on Google, it'll come right up with the characters and that. You can see the animations and listen to their music.
Gorillas came out in 1998. I wanted to double check that, but yeah.
Holy crap! They came out when I was freaking 8, 9.
I
Damn.
want to say Blur was like song number 2 was like 92.
I'm so glad Travis could join us so that he could age me to death with his words.
You just got to accept that some of us are older than others of us. It's the way it is.
You're younger than me too. You're not free of this.
Yeah, but I'm only a little bit younger, probably. Right.
You're not even 40 yet, are you?
No, I'm 41.
Are you 41? Okay, all right, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little. Damn.
Am I the oldest guy on the stream?
Oh,
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
46.
Okay.
So Tony, you might
I'm-
have it.
Yes, I'm 50. I'll be 51 in July.
I'll be 40.
July what?
31st.
31st. I'm the 5th.
Oh,
Cool. Well, if y'all will permit me, I'm going to do some show and tell. I've got some stuff I'm going to show off.
Show us
Uh,
what you got.
Do it.
We got TJ saying 52. Now, Joe said, I believe this is Joseph, the adventurous Joe said Strapper knew when to end it. Now, they actually did go on hiatus from 1991 to 2003, and then they reformed, and they've been recording ever since. And they're fixing to go in the studio and do a new album.
That is not the Adventurous Joe. That's a different
Yeah.
Joe.
Oh, it's different, Joe? Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
I think
Gorillaz
they-
has a graphic novel, as many music acts do. Yeah, they actually, I've seen comic books now for Disturbed, Halloween, even
Mhm.
Evanescence. So, I mean, all
I
right,
forget
so
who's doing that.
I'm going to start with CDs. And
Oh, it's-
I'm going to start off. You can't talk about British metal without talking about Judas Priest. And this album narrowly beat out Screaming for Vengeance. And that is Painkiller. This is my favorite Judas Priest album of all time. It's a really awesome album, and you got to get it. I mean, if you like Priest, you got to get it. Now, on
I'm,
the subject,
I'm probably going to lose points for this because as an Englishman, I don't know Priest at all. I barely know the hits. It's really weird that it's sort of. I'm not intentionally not listening to any Priest. It's just never happened.
I don't know either.
hey, you know how many people from Batesville I talked to that has never heard of Jaded Heart, and Jaded Heart was from Batesville. So I mean, all right. So we're gonna go a little local. Tim mentioned Tora Tora and Roxy Blue, and we've heard Ryan talk about some local stuff. This is a band that I personally know that not a lot of people is gonna know of. In '94, they released an album. It's a band called Chosen, and they released an album called The Alternative. Now, this was ran. I can't remember. I remember 3 of the 4 band members. It was Mott Hammer was I believe it was Mott. Anyway, his name was Mott. He was the lead singer. His brother Lonnie was the drummer, and he had a bass player named John Austin. Lonnie, John's still playing. I don't remember what band he's playing for now, but Lonnie, after this, he went on to play drums for bands like the Jack Russell Band, Every Mother's Nightmare, Black Oak, Arkansas, and he's got his own band called Hammer Down Hard, and it is amazing. He is really a really good, talented musician. Next one I'm going to show a little history. Back in the 90s, I don't know how, there was this girl I was talking to. I ended up becoming pen pals with a bass player named Rob Swanson, and he was in a band called Lixaray, which was basically 80s hair metal. And he's got a band member named Blake Hastings that was with him. And Rob, coincidentally, I didn't find out until like a few years ago when we reconnected. Rob Swanson is the brother of Christy Swanson, aka Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh.
Didn't know that.
Wrong. Sarah
That is the
Michelle
first
Gellar
Buffy. No.
is Buffy.
No.
Who played?
Spirit, but like, yeah.
No. I don't care.
Who came first?
I give her the first.
This is
but
fighting talk to some people.
Who played the character
It
the
is. It really
longest?
is.
Who
I love
played
all
the
know
character
Sarah
the
Michelle Gellar
longest?
played it the longest, and she
No,
gets the crown.
Hold on. Here's the aspiration of any TV show is to make it to the big screen. So if you start with the big screen and go to the TV show, it's the opposite. Like Stargate is the better product. The TV show was a good product, but it wasn't the movie. So,
Don't
but
tell me that Buffy wasn't a phenomenal television product.
oh, it
no,
was.
no, no,
It was.
It
I'm
was.
not saying.
Okay.
I love
The
Buffy. I love.
slow motion run
I love
and
Buffy.
that jacket to Kendra's dead body will live forever in my mind. And no scene from Buffy the movie is ever going to live like that in my mind.
Buffy
Oh, no,
actually
no.
defies the TV show. It actually defies a lot of like modern like shows where they'll focus like a female heroine, but then they're surrounded by like dudes. And Buffy's not like that. It's one of the only like, and you're talking about books, comics, like I mean, there's not too many like female heroes that you can't name that aren't surrounded by dudes. And Buffy is one of those that breaks that.
That mold shatters that mold.
Pee Wee Herman was awesome in the movie. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I like.
Oh, that's right. He was really good. Paul Rubens.
Yeah,
I
he
forgot
was.
about that. Yes.
What was a vampire?
We done went and got Cliff done fired up. But
I was
basically,
like,
when I was talking about Blake and Rob, they're doing a band now called Hypnostic, and they're really cool as well.
Nice.
All right, so all those Kiss fans out there, anybody that follows Kiss knows that before Kiss, there was Wicked Lester. Gene and Paul was in a band called Wicked Lester with their friends. They recorded an album. Then they shelved the album. The record company shelved the album, and they decided to quit the band and form Kiss. Now, back in 1997, I was able to pick up an album that does technically is not supposed to exist, and this is the original Wicked Lester album that was supposedly shelved, and according to documentaries, doesn't exist, but I have a copy. And I'm going to be bluntly honest. Yeah, there was a reason why they restarted. That's all I'm going to say about that. That was truly awful. I'm going to bring this up. This was a gift from a friend of mine. This is Stryper's No More Hell to Pay. It came out in 2013. Phenomenal album. My friend's mom for Christmas went and bought this one off of the Stryper website, and it's autographed by the original members.
And I can't whistle.
That's cool.
So I thought that was cool. Now I'm going to move on to vinyl. Now a lot of this stuff, these are my favorite bands, and I'll save number one for. It's not really a ranking, even though I just said number one. These are like 10 bands that I just really love. I'm going to show some albums to showcase the bands. The first one's an honorable mention because there's no way in hell I'm going to mention music that I love without talking about the Trick or Treat soundtrack by Fastaway. This is a great B-rated horror film starring the guy that was in Family Ties, with cameo appearances by Gene Simmons and Ozzy. Ozzy plays a preacher trying to ban the evils of rock music. So yeah, it was.
Of course, he was. Makes perfect sense.
And Tony Fields, a solid gold dancer, plays Sammy Kerr, the main villain of this movie, and he did awesome. And once again, I'm not going to talk about Memphis Rock without mentioning Tora Tora. This was an amazing record. They released a few albums. As a matter of fact, they're still touring.
That's a beautiful cover.
This record took me forever to find. I got on Discogs, and it cost me, a used copy was $45, and now it's like $80. Wow. So I mean,
yeah, I had to look up Trick or Treat just to figure out who the hell you were talking about from Family Ties, and it was the big doofball tall guy from Family Ties.
Yeah, the one guy that you wouldn't expect was the hero of that whole movie. And there's a scene
I'm glad he got to act somewhere that wasn't Family Ties.
There's a scene in there with a girl in the back seat with a Walkman, and that's all I'm going to say. But growing up in the 80s, just about everybody had this album. So I mean, I love Poison. Always have. This is probably my favorite album, and Flesh and Blood's probably my second favorite album. And then I'm going to do this one. This is an honorable. I believe this is Tim's going to love this one. I honestly, for a while, thought that me and Tim were the only people that probably loved this band from Sweden. It was an 80s metal band from Sweden, and it's Shotgun Messiah. This is a very hard album to find on vinyl, and I was finally able to get one. They had a singer, I can't think of his name, and believe Tim can correct me in the comments, but Harry Cody was the guitarist, I believe, and then Tim Skode was the bassist. But anyway, after this album, Tim became the lead singer for their second album until they ended their career. I'm not going to talk about 80s metal from London without mentioning Def Leppard. This is my second favorite album. Well, actually, this would be my third favorite album because I can never decide between Pyromania and Hysteria which one's my favorite album because I love both of those the same. And you're not going to talk about heavy metal without mentioning Dio. Holy Diver. Coincidentally, Holy Diver is my favorite album, but my favorite song is The Last in Line. So I don't know if that makes any sense or not. Going back to some earlier roots, Led Zeppelin. I'm a big Led Zeppelin fan, but I only have 2 vinyls. I need to get the rest of them. And then again, more British heavy metal. I mentioned them before. We got Iron Maiden. Now, I'm going to tell you, I got Killer. I've got the first ones. I got them all the way up to Power Slave or Peace of Mind on vinyl. I started buying these reissues. Funny story about this one. I bought this off of Amazon. I bought the bare bones edition of this album for $20. And they sent me
Oh wow, that's a hell of a picture disc.
yeah.
That's amazing.
They
Yeah,
sent me the picture disc
Damn.
because it was like the bare bones edition was $20 and the picture disc was 40. And they sent me the picture disc, which I lovingly accepted. All right. Another one of my favorite bands, my buddy from Greenbrier, Arkansas. I love him like a brother. Got me hooked onto this band. And the guitar player I consider to be one of the greatest guitar players ever. I rank him up with Randy and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Eddie Van Halen. And rest in peace, he passed away in '93 after the release of this album, and that is Sabotage. Chris Oliva, if you ever, for this to be Chris Oliva's last album, the guitar work that he did on this album is absolutely phenomenal. You can go play any Sabotage album, and you'll just see how great his guitar work was. And I'm going to bring up this Sabotage album as well. This was the album that came out after Chris's death. And this one, believe it or not, featured Alex Skolnick from Testament as a guitar player. Now, last 2 of bands. My favorite 2 Kiss albums of all time, of course. Rock and Roll Over and Revenge. I love Revenge. And I'm going to ask y'all a question. You notice the logo is a little different than a standard Kiss logo? Do you know why this logo is different?
No.
This is from Germany. This pressing is from Germany, and they do not allow anything that resembles.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But that was pretty cool.
The SS was. When you think about it, it's a very similar style logo, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Tim Sco from Shotgun Messiah actually went on to play bass for Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, I do know that.
All right, so now we're on to Stryper, and I'll tell my story after I show off my albums. This band means more to me. If there was a band that I love more than Kiss, and I've loved Kiss since I was 5 years old, but when I get into my story, Kiss never did this for me. So, TJ says that Sabotage was a great band. He met Steve Doc Killdrums while Wakas, and he was a great guy. Doc Killdrums. All right, so we got the original Stryper EP, the Yellow and Black Attack, which Tim pointed out will be the 40th anniversary. Their second album, Soldiers Under Command. And believe it or not, tracking down these old vinyl, the vinyl's cheaper than the actual CDs. For some reason, the CDs are crazy. The album, Stryper got Soldiers Under Command got them going. This album made their mark. The Hell with the Devil. This put them on the map, and everybody loved them. And the odd thing about Stryper is that they were panned by the metal people for being Christian, and they were panned by Christians for being wolves in sheep clothing. And they said the Christians were saying that Stryper was doing it to make money. So yes, yeah, Stryper decided to become Christian to make money in the 80s. Go figure.
As a metal band as
As
well.
as a metal band.
It's not like they decided to be a country band, is it? Like,
Yeah, I mean, you're like, really? And, yeah, they picked the one thing that to make money out of that you're not. No, that's not true. And I want to throw this out here because this is a very rare thing to get. I mean, you can find them on eBay if you want to pay the price. This was the limited edition to Hell with the Devil picture disc. It came with the picture disc and a poster. It's got a life-size Stryper poster. And I always wanted this as a kid, and I finally got it as an adult. Now, this is the album that was my introduction to Stryper and plays heavily into my story. And that is In God We Trust. And I will get into that later. We'll come back to this one. The hardest album for me to find of Stryper on vinyl came out in the 90s. It's considered by some the least favorite of the band because they were accused of walking away from God when they did this album. They decided to make a straightforward rock and roll album, and coincidentally, it's one of my favorites, and that's Against the Law. I had to buy this from a dude in Spain off Discogs because in America, this was $100 album used.
Woo.
And then, like I said, in 2019, I went and met them. I got to talk to them. I got this autographed. It's a Rock's Regime was the name of Stryper before they became Stryper. This was autographed by Perry Richardson at the time. He replaced Tim Gaines, but this was autographed by all the members of the band. And I got this also autographed. This album's called Goddamn Evil. And for a Christian band to release an album called Goddamn Evil, this is an awesome album as well.
I think it works. I feel
It
like
does.
people are just too sensitive.
it's a great pun. If anything,
a lot of
game's
people,
on point.
a lot of people criticize Michael and them for picking that name, and the actual idea of the name is that there's a song on here called Goddamn Evil, and it's about they said it's a prayer request asking God to damn all the evil in the world. Sorry, Mike. And the last Stryper vinyl I'm going to show is the next to the last release they did, and it's called Even the Devil Believes, and it's a really great album. I'm biased when it comes to Stryper because I believe ever since they came back, starting with No More Hell to Pay, nowadays with aging rock stars, the voice seems to go away. Everything starts to fade. Michael's voice has been the strongest now than it's ever been. He still has the same voice. And to me, it seems like with every album, that just keeps getting better and better. Pretty soon they're going to hit a limit to where it'll start probably tapering off, but I see no signs yet. Okay, back to this. This is my story. The reason why Stryper means so much to me personally is because, like I said, this was my introduction to Stryper. And God We Trust, my introduction to Stryper. Freaking Always There For You was on MTV all the time in the 89. You couldn't go watch it and not see that video. And I believe they did. I'm trying to think of some other songs. My favorite song on here is called The Writings on the Wall. They should have did a video for it, but they didn't. So in 1990, like at this point in time, I liked Stryper. They didn't really have any impact on me back then. But in 1990, I was going through a rough spot. I suffered from depression, and I questioned a lot of things in my life. And finally, I said, fuck it, I'm done. So I was literally one day, my mom was out shopping. My brother was spending the night somewhere else. and I was writing my suicide note. I literally sharpened a butcher knife, listening to a mixtape, writing out my note, and Always There For You came on. I'd listened to this song 1,000 times, but this time the lyrics caught my eye. The chorus goes, "When the world has shut its doors and you can't go on anymore, I'm always there for you." It made me stop in my tracks, and I put everything away. I was transfixed on that song and played it 7 or 8 times. And from something woke up in me and made me realize what I was fixing to do. And I snapped just like that. I changed and I realized that their life was worth living. And it woke me up. And from that point on, everything started getting better. I started feeling better about myself. I never questioned anything anymore. I picked up a Bible. I started following God. That's the reason why this band means so much to me. And that's my story. So now when you hear me talk, like I mentioned on one of the live streams, that if I ever got any revenue from my channel, if I didn't need it for my channel, I would donate it to the National Suicide Hotline because that means a lot to me. And sorry I brought it down, but I just felt like that was a story that I finally need to tell because only so many people know it.
That's a
I
beautiful
mean,
story.
It's an important story that people need to hear.
If anybody listening to this, watching on replay, if you ever feel like you're worthless, you're not. That's the worst feeling in the world, is to feel like you're worthless. And hell, message me. I'll talk to you. I'll do whatever I have to. And that's it. That's all I got for this. Sorry if I brought it down for everybody. But that's the reason why Striper resonates with me more than any band ever. Everybody's silent.
Thank you for introducing them to me today, because you've talked about them, mentioned that at the time on the TV. I've Googled them. I'm like, I have zero recollection of them.
Now Tony's done talking about Striper. I want to talk about Striper for just a little bit because I have a story about Striper.
All right.
So my parents were Christians, but my dad was a biker, and so he like had fringes into like rock, and he never really was into metal, but he had a VHS tape of Striper live in Japan, and I was very young, like 4 or 5, listening to this watching this amazing band on stage going just mental. And it's all on YouTube. Find Striper live in Japan, because they're so majestic. They've got like the huge hair and trousers so tight you can literally see everything. And it's a fascinating watch, and they're really good musically as well. They're really fun. You're right about his voice as well. He's got a cracking voice. Like if you like sort of high pitched metal rather than like you're growling and whatnot. But yes, yeah. I approve.
And it surprises me they still got it. You know, like I said, when I met him in June, I was talking to him and Oz, and I was like, man, what? And I wanted to tell him the story, but I thought it was too depressing. I thought they'd think I was a freak or something, so I didn't tell them. And when I had the opportunity. But all I told him was, what do you tell a band that meant so much to you for the last 30 years, whose message and music has inspired your life? And I went, thank you. And they went, and Michael was like, thank you, man. You know, but I thought if I told them that story, they'd be like, oh, who's it? You know, I honestly felt like they probably would have thought I was weird or something.
No, well, I mean, it would have went the other way.
I think they would have been touched, but at the same time, it's quite a personal story, and if you weren't comfortable in that situation to do that, then it's every bit your right not to tell them that. But I think now that you've opened up about it in the stream and whatnot, that's it's quite an emotional thing and important for people to hear. Everybody.
And not only that, but my daughter was sitting by me. I didn't want her to hear a story like that from her dad that she had never heard before. I mean,
and not that way, right?
Like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure if she watches this, she's gonna be like, "What the hell?" Because, like I said, my wife and them don't even know the story unless they watch this.
You're gonna have if they decide to randomly watch tonight, you're gonna have a lot of explaining to do.
You know, your mum was in the chat earlier, right?
She knows
she
about
knows.
it.
She
Yeah,
knows.
she knows.
Right.
Yeah. She knew about it. But anyway,
I'm a fan of your mother's work. That's for sure. We all are.
It is funny because I was talking about the parentage and everything. I got my love of now my love of country music came from my grandpa. I used to sit in the movies or sit in his bedroom and listen to Hank Williams Sr. My dad taught me about Conway Twitty, Merle Haggard, and all that. And then my mom did too. She taught me about George Jones and all that. But my mom was the one that got me into Kiss. The story goes, and when I say the story goes, because I don't remember it. The story goes when I was 5 years old, I was a mean little shit. But she would put on some Kiss albums, and I would set my ass down and look at the album covers, or I'd dance. I danced by the red stereo to Kiss. I just can't imagine me dancing to freaking Kiss when I was 5. But I mean, hell, I was 5. I don't remember that stuff.
I don't see you dancing like this either.
Nah.
To Kiss.
That's actually the way I envisioned it. It was just like.
I mean, I'm envisioning him at 5, so it's not too far off.
Yeah, I mean, like you could see it.
I actually have a picture somewhere. If I can find it, I'll even share it on Instagram of me when I was 5 years old wearing a Kiss shirt. And then I actually got a picture of my youngest daughter when she was 5 or 6 wearing a Kiss shirt. So, I mean.
Oh, I've got another semi-interesting story.
All right.
My dad was a roadie for about 6 months for a band called Hawkwind. And
I know Hawkwind.
Yeah. So it was during the period where Lemmy was still in the band. And growing up, he didn't think I would know who Hawkwind were. So he told me that he was a roadie for Motorhead, which made me listen to Motorhead, which is probably like where I get some of my heavy influence from, is because I've always been very, like, I don't hear like anger. I hear sort of speed, and aggression is sort of, it's like a momentum thing rather than it being angry and oppressive. Like some people hear oppressive when they hear anger.
I can agree to that. I can agree to that.
So I tend to lean towards fast-paced-ish music and like aggressive music. And like if you, yeah, exactly. If you take Motorhead on like, well, I mean, the Ace of Spades is.
I don't know if I ever took it as an aggressive. I always felt like it was the other thing. Like it was just pure energy that he was like, you know, because if you actually listen to a lot of the lyrics from his songs and the stories he's telling, they're all like empowered stories and like kicking ass and like, I mean.
I did get to see Motorhead once in Hyde Park, and they were amazing live. Like I really dug them. They like Lemmy still had it, and this was only a few years before he died. So
I got to see the WrestleMania Triple H opening.
Oh, really?
They did that in Houston.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah. I think it was like a couple of years before he passed away.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah, I always like seeing these little memes you'd see like of a band of like Justin Bieber or something. It'd be like, God sent me down here to sing. And it'd show like Lemmy, you'd be like, no, I didn't.
There's some Justin Bieber songs I like. I never really had that restriction where like that there's this huge like hate against a certain performer or whatever. Usually that kind of draws my attention more to them.
I think with Justin Bieber, it's more about his personality being a bit
it is
iffy, like than it is his music.
It is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, growing up in the '80s, we had to endure the PMRC and them labeling all the records. But incidentally, that was probably one of the greatest marketing things they could ever do, putting the stickers on the albums, because then we knew what albums to buy.
100%. I can remember being around 15, 16, something like that, and just being like, well, it doesn't have the sticker on it. Put that back.
Oh, this has got a parental advisory sticker on it. I
Yeah,
gotta
we had.
get it.
I was gonna say we had the PA when I was growing up, and like that was a headache, because like for me, I was Marilyn Manson, Nine Inch Nails, like especially in the '90s, Rob Zombie, White Zombie, and all that was like, regardless of whether it was really like, you
Mm.
know, I mean, because it's like Rob Zombie and White Zombie, like none of their stuff is really like bad or nothing they talk about is like they don't even curse. They don't. I can understand Marilyn Manson, especially his first couple. He would use foul language, and most of the stuff that he sung about was just heavier stuff. But like they were just slapping that shit on everything. Like I think even Metallica had it on. Like, and you're
Yep.
talking about once they went to the Black album, and like there's nothing like mature on the Black album. Like
Yeah,
that's
I'm
kind
pretty
of
sure it's on Load and Reload, if
yeah, it
if
is.
memory serves. Yeah.
And I'm one of those. See, I'm one of those Metallica fans that got into Metallica later. I don't like their heavier stuff, like Ride the Light. I like their popular songs, Ride the Lightning and stuff like that. But their garage stuff, I'm not a huge fan of. I liked once they went to the Black Album Beyond. Load and Reload are two of my favorite
I
albums.
like Load and Reload as well, and the Black Album. Like I like quite a lot of Metallica. It works for me. It speaks.
I forgot to mention Megadeth too. I like
I
Megadeth.
love Megadeth. Megadeth was not mentioned, but I was a huge fan of Megadeth, especially like in my teens, like Symphony and Destruction. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
D. Snyder versus Tipper Gore.
And I was gonna, I wanted to throw this in, but y'all
I
had
forgot
mentioned
about that.
the Headbangers Ball, and sometimes I would watch that, not the whole thing, but I do. That was during my era of watching MTV as well, because my era was like he had mentioned like Headbangers Ball. I was watching like Peter Gabriel and Sledgehammer and Michael Jackson, and like that was like okay, so really the MTV that I watched and the introduction to a lot of like just dope ass bands was Beavis and Butthead. Like I used to stay up like literally at night, and that was
Yeah.
like my introduction, like Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like I want to say a lot of bands at that time,
Give
and
it away,
like
give it away, give it away now.
We didn't get satellite television until like the mid 90s ish, and that's the equivalent of cable. Like there was cable here, but not many people had cable. It was mainly satellite if you were going to get like a TV package type thing. And so like MTV wasn't available to most people until like they got satellite. And you had MTV, MTV2, and VH1. MTV2 over here sort of skewed into the more sort of rocky music video. And I think that's probably where Headbangers Ball was, because I did used to watch it as well.
Yeah.
And then MTV was more poppy music videos, and then VH1 was old timey. And that's basically the situation on the television.
I think it was pretty much the same, because I think over here it started off MTV and then it moved to like what we called M2, and then like because we had like VH1 and we had VH1 Pop. Pop went away after a while, but like I want to say like altogether it was like four.
Did you have? I just thought about this. There were a couple of channels that came along towards the end of the 2000s. No, not the end of the 2000s. End of the 90s into the early 2000s, which were just music videos, but you'd phone in to pick your music video, and it would have like the numbers running across the screen so that you could call in and pick a music video, and it would eventually get paid.
Yeah, we had that in I want to say it was a lot like how Wayne's World was featured. We had that, it was kind of like public access, but like I want to say at the time MTV was like popular, and it was around that time, it feels like later, not like 95 to like 2000s. I remember like on cable there was like 2 or 3 like alternative, and I wouldn't say public access, like they were actually like, I mean, they were airing like legit music videos, and like but like in between it almost was like a DJ setup, but it was like you said, it was like you called in a number, and like it was like maybe you got put in a list of like videos they had already like picked or whatever. But I want to say we had like 3 or 4 of those.
There was one called Box over here, and one called Kerrang, and one called Scuzz TV. and like Scuzz TV was sort of like punky rock, metally. Kerrang was like rock and metal, you know, the kind of metal that was big at the time. So, you know,
Yeah.
new metal and that kind of thing. And then Box was pop, basically. And they were all would rotate music videos on a massive list. And I always wondered, because I did phone it up every now and again and be like, I want to listen to this. And sure enough, my video would turn up eventually, but it took a while. And I've always wondered whether it was just coming anyway, or whether, you know, it was because I called and requested it.
Hey, Rich, what's going on, man?
Sorry, guys. Better late than never, man.
Hey.
What's up?
Well,
Paul?
you're here just in time. I'm going to spotlight Tim's question he asked from Airheads. Who'd win in a wrestling match, Lemmy or God?
Yeah, Lemmy's God.
Lemmy or God?
Yeah.
God.
Trick question. Lemmy is God.
No, Lemmy's God. Airheads.
That was a great. How you doing, Rich?
I'm doing good, man. How's everybody doing tonight?
We're doing all right. We didn't talk about
all good, bro.
All our music that we grew up liking.
Yeah, I just had the fun pleasure of playing taxi cab driver for my son and his friends all night. So always a good time.
Sounds delightful. And once again, love not being a parent.
In the city.
So what was the music? What I missed, man? I don't. You guys got to
Everything.
recap the whole show now.
We kind of went around and told some story. What's your experience with growing up with music? That was the question. Like, you know, how were you introduced to music? Like ages, 0 through 10. What were some of the band songs? You know,
What were you listening to before you came out of the womb?
were you playing the Funky Chicken? You know, what was
You
the
know,
Bunny song?
Growing up,
Huge.
man, I remember my parents listening to like Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton and the
Yeah.
Islands in the Stream song and that 70s easy listening stuff. But I had two older sisters, man, and they were into metal, so I got introduced to like Metallica when I was probably like 9 years old. Nobody knew what it was back then. Not that I liked it. I like it now, but back then, and I was a teenager, I had really, really weird taste, man. I was actually into like, the gangster rap music for most of my my high school years,
That's me.
which is probably odd, but and I'm talking like,
Not where I live.
NWA, Eazy-E stuff way back in the day.
Yep, we brought that up. Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, right into Snoop Dogg and Dre and that whole thing.
Okay.
And then it was, there was alternatives, it was Nirvana's and all those kind of grunge band type stuff. And then now if I put something on the radio, man, it's probably 80s metal. That's me in a nutshell.
I'm
like
gonna point out. I meant to point this out earlier when we was talking about gangster rap and stuff. Ice-T, I loved him as a rapper, and I loved him in Body Count.
Yep. Ice-T, The Power, right? That was the best album.
I always liked the first one, but
I think
Be
Power
honest-
was the second.
okay.
A lot of my
one. I was
sorry.
gonna say there was one I'm trying to remember where it had like dead babies on the cover of it. And I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I'm
But,
trying to remember too. It's funny that Power's the only one I remember.
I know he got into a lot of crap over Cop Killer,
Yeah.
Yep.
and then coincidentally now he plays cop. So
Yep.
I was actually going to bring that up. That's most of my musical stories, if I had to have, like, they're actually tied to hip hop and what I was banned. Like my parents were like where I wasn't allowed to. We actually had cops in my family. My uncle was the current chief of police in Houston at that time, and like when Cop Killer came out, everything that Warner Brothers had came out with, and that included like Batman '89, and like I was banned from partaking in it because they had produced that album. Like I took some major hits, and like especially because I was heavy into like early hip hop and stuff like that. NWA, I can remember like having to rebuy that album 3 times because my parents
they burnt it on you.
they kept confiscating it and it'd just be gone out of my collection and
It
stuff.
was a 2 Live Crew, man. Back
oh
then.
my God, 2 Live Crew.
There were some raunchy lyrics there, man.
Do you want to
The
know
out-
the oddest story I have from high school? One of my friends, his parents absolutely hated Smashing Pumpkins and destroyed his Smashing Pumpkins CD 3 times.
I
And
saw him in concert.
I'm like, what? And right, I make like now it's coming to me. I did see him in concert once. That was cool, but I was like, of all things, I was like, what is wrong with Smashing Pumpkins?
yeah.
That's actually one of my all-time favorite bands, and they're still going today. Like, and
I couldn't. I was just like, oh, like his parents. They first of all, they loved all the music of their generation, so that was constantly playing in their house. But they had a thing about Smashing Pumpkins, and they destroyed his CD, the double CD. What was that one? I forgot what it was, but I think everybody knows it. The double CD one. They destroyed it 3 times. He had to replace it 3 times.
Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
Why Smashing Pumpkins? That seems like a weird hill to die on.
Exactly.
Well,
that was a weird hill to die on.
Well, I do have stories like that. Like, I took a beat for that because, like, a lot of I could say a lot of bands just have weird names, right? And I liked a band that I took a lot of flack from just because of the band's name, and it was Garbage. Like, I can remember a specific time where, like, I wanted to go buy, like, I think it was the second Garbage album that dropped, and my mom was like, "I'm not buying that. It's called Garbage." Like, I was like,
And
"Yeah,
they were excellent.
yeah, they were. I love Garbage."
Like,
Like,
you're
that
not
was-
picking up garbage. Get something else.
But I could say, like, I remember, like, taking flack for, like, Hootie and the Blowfish, and it's funny how big he is today, like Darius Rucker in the country world. But, like,
I saw him
like,
in concert too.
oh man, he's such a good
Awesome.
like him and Blues Traveler at the time, and like I enjoyed both bands. You know, I thought they were great.
But what would they think about Ho?
Yeah.
Well, Hole was kind of known. I think my mom, you know, because like anything Nirvana was kind of big and advertised, you know. So in our house, I think of it because we watched a lot of MTV and stuff like that, and that was huge.
Do you want to know the big redemption that I had for Garbage? You know, when I would defend it to people, The World Is Not Enough.
Right.
When that came out and it was playing and it got nominated for Academy Award, all of a sudden, anybody who had this weird distaste for Garbage, it just got simmered up.
Garbage were great. I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't understand. Like, it was just one of those weird things.
And
You know,
I know every city plays and picks different hits that they play on the radio, but like Her and No Doubt, and like, I mean, they were like in the
No
90s,
Doubt.
there was like this huge like girl band, like, you know, movement and stuff. And
yes.
like I can remember like Garbage on the radio, like on the, you know, alternative radio stations. But I mean, I want to say they played like 4 or 5 different, you know, hits or something, you know. It
So
wasn't just
in the 90s, man, I was actually a big skateboarder, and I actually used to listen to some weird stuff. Like, I don't know if anyone's even ever heard of this. Gorilla Biscuits, Circle Jerks.
I've heard of the Circle Jerks.
Circle Jerks.
Yeah.
I've heard of that too, but I don't think we're talking about the same thing.
Most of those
Yeah,
guys were
that's what I'm wondering.
New Jersey guys. They were from New
Yeah.
Jersey, most of them.
Yeah.
But they traveled. I think most of them are deceased at this point, unfortunately. But crazy beat and lyrics don't even like match up. It was just, you know, weird stuff. Mosh pit type music.
Mhm. I did that for a little while, but not as heavy as some of the, you know, like heavy metal. But like, I want to say in my like 20s, I was already, I mean, because Maryland and at mosh pits were just big there because I was into Corn and you know, I mean, if
Yeah.
you went to any of those lives, I mean, I want to say that was like the birth of mosh pits, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I was never really like a big fan of mosh pits, but I partake. I've like shit. I've lost ear piercings and stuff like that. Just getting
Yeah,
too close to this.
I've never been a fan of circle pits. It doesn't do it for me. I don't mind being at the front and it going mental. I just don't like the idea of the circle pit. It just freaks me out a bit.
Like going home all bloody. And
yeah, it's like you get into a fight. It's basically what it is. You go in there and you come out. People are just swinging. You're getting hit with arms and.
I used to have friends. That's what they look forward to. They were like, "Yeah, we're going to the new Anthrax show," and I was like, "Well, wait a minute. I don't even remember you mentioning Anthrax." "Oh, we don't care about the band. There's gonna be a mosh pit. Let's do it." You know.
So, other change of subject, man. But you guys watch Rob's Fat Stack's birthday celebration at the end
Yes,
of
it is.
No, I
They
only
did.
wish I could have watched it live.
Dude, it was freaking. I was pissing my pants one after another. Cliff, yours was epic. Who was that with the mustache and the bald head? Who was that?
That was Freaky Louie.
Yeah, freaky.
No kidding.
Yeah,
That was funny.
he was
Yeah.
looking good.
In
So
costume.
like, I was like, I know this is supposed to be comedy, but hey,
There was some good stuff, man.
it was great. I loved every second of it. I mean, there was a few people who were like, look, I got the memo, but I'm just gonna keep it real. I love you. Happy birthday. And other people were like, your wife told us to bust the chains and we're going for it.
Yeah, I didn't know how far I should take it. You know what I mean? I was gonna like really go on a roast, but I was like, yeah.
How about this? Sometime around 4 a.m. UK time, I'm sending my video to DVH. I'm like, Dr. Von Hoot, do you like this? I was like, first of all, are you awake? I'm like, oh, you're working? I'm like, you gotta watch this. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, yeah. So I get it, and I'm like, yeah, that'll do. Like that'll work.
Oh hell. Rich, I know you just showed up, but I'm about to wind things down.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I
ready.
get it, man. I was surprised you guys were still on. I was like, all right, let me just jump on for a couple minutes. So it's all good.
Yeah, my wife's made comments before going, your live shows are getting longer. I went, hey.
Yeah, just wait, man. Just wait. It happens, and then next thing you know, you're going like 3-4 hours. Just
Oh,
ask
yeah.
Roscoe. Like Roscoe is just like between the lines used to be an hour, and now it's like 4. Like what the hell, Travis?
Well, Rich, since you're the spotlight right now, what you got coming up?
I have just some cleaning and pressing videos, man. That's the main thing I'm doing. Oh, actually, I am doing an EGS unboxing. I was hoping to do it already. I actually have the box sitting behind me somewhere. I sent a couple in for Reholder, and then I had a couple low-end books that I wanted to send in to get their new slabs because I haven't seen their new slabs yet, so this will be a first for that. But other than that, that's all I have going on right now.
Cool.
Yo, cleaning and
Travis?
pressing videos.
Travis, what you got coming up?
Well, for members, that's right, guys. I have a membership. I know that's like a big
99
controversial topic.
cents.
Yeah, 99 cents. For members right now, I have Chatting with the Comic Community is available for members only. And that's Chatting with the Comic Community episode 82 with Dr. Von Hoot that was recorded today. It'll drop on Monday for everybody else at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Same night, we'll be over in Between the Lines over at Geek Out with Roscoe's channel where we'll have Real Rude over there. And the art theme of the night is people in the community. So if you'd like to draw from home, draw your favorite community member, or just draw somebody in the community, feel free to do so. Then Wednesday, tomorrow tonight, where I will compile some of the topics that we'll be discussing that night. I'll drop it on IG Tuesday and on my community page on Tuesday. So if you see any of the topics that you would like to discuss, it's open panel discussion. After we're done in the discussions, it turns out into a hangout. Cliff will be there. Papa Wheelie will probably be there. Open panel, guys. If any of the topics excite you, definitely jump on and have a great conversation with us. Other than that, I think, Thursday I will be also going live again that night to open up an art commission, an AOK art commission from Norin Rad. And you guys are going to want to be there because he's super excited for what he drew. And if you guys know Norin Rad, he's a fantastic artist. So I can't wait to open that up. That's about it.
All right. So, Mike, what you got coming up, man?
The only thing I have coming up on my channel is my Stephen King read-along discussion that we have coming up this Saturday, February 3rd. It'll be 7 p.m. Eastern, like 9 p.m. I don't know, or 9 p.m. Eastern. Like I don't know. Check my YouTube page. But basically, we are reading the Gunslinger. I have a full panel of people that we're gonna talk and discuss only the first book, but we're doing the entire series eventually. But the panel consists of Naman, a comic bookworm, Philtastic, Madam Blaster, the Blue Chick, which is Bobby Castelletto, Glenn, my bestie. And speaking of Nornrad 82, he'll be there as well. And I'm pretty sure. Oh, and Steve, the voice White, will be there as well. But you at home can participate. Read. I mean, it's a very short book. I started that within like, I want to say like 30 minutes. It's only like 200 pages. It's not.
Are there any pictures?
Yes, there are. And it's fantastic. It's part of the cool shit in this.
Just a heads up, Comic Journey is going to be there, and if anybody doesn't get anything right, exact detail, he's going to go down on them.
I will.
That sounded dirtier than it was supposed to, but yeah.
I will like to add that we will be doing a giveaway, 2 different giveaways actually. I haven't figured out exactly yet on one of them. It's either going to be the audiobook version of The Gunslinger, or maybe the second book. It just depends on what the person who wins wants. And the second giveaway will be original art from Nornrad 82. Is going to be given away during the live chat. Now, of course, it's going to be Dark Tower related, but you know.
He was showing that off this morning on Comic Journey's channel. It looks good. Looks good. So definitely check out Evil Mike's show. I know you've been working hard on it.
Yeah, I got shit. This whole thing is like filled with notes
and plus you'll be with Trev tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Cliff, you're up, buddy.
All right, so tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's the Council of Comics, and we're going to do the box office and our movie review of Back to the Future Part 2, and Papa Wheelie is joining us.
Cool.
No way.
Yes.
I love Papa.
He is a tremendous Back to the Future fan. He immediately DM'd me that he missed Part 1, and I was like, when are you doing Part 2? And I was like, all right, dude, like, it's going to happen. So I'm really excited about that. Monday night, we're going to do Keys and Hot Comics of the Week, and our special guest is going to be Seabizzle.
Cool.
And Tuesday night, and of course, we're going to do a last chance for a duck and our duck race for our what has grown again into a very large council prize package of the month.
5-minute duck race?
Nope, no puns intended this time. And Tuesday night will be my last episode of January for Cliff's Crisis Quest Trivia. And so I'm excited about that. And then, of course, I'm just going to open it up to whoever wants to join me for February. February 10th, I'm going to be on Nerdy Collective. And Wednesday night, the 31st, I will be on Sector 2815. I'll be on Guess That Key.
Guess That Key. Yeah.
Right? Then, February 10th, I am scheduled to appear on Nerdy Collective. And then on February 13th, I'm joining John's Comics with Kids, and we're going to be talking Uncanny X-Men 188. And that is what is currently on my schedule, as well as Saturdays. You can usually find me hanging out over here, and sometimes over with Mad Spidey after, and often after 5 o'clock, I go over to Collecting with Durz's channel for that session. So I'm out there. GTM Nerdy and I on Wednesdays at 10 Eastern Time, 11 Eastern Time. This mofo, I can't sleep. Last time I had to take a nap, get up, make coffee just to get through night 1.
Dude, and that's the thing. That's the thing. You were on there for 2 hours. The stream went 6.5.
Yeah, I am aware. You saw I commented afterwards. I skipped to all the highlights.
All right, DVH, what you got coming up, brother?
Well, I mean, it's an interesting week because there are 2 scenarios I'm currently playing out in my mind. I will either have a video up on Monday and maybe on Friday, or there will be a zombie outbreak and I will be fighting for my life. So it swings and roundabouts. I'm not sure which way it will go right now.
How do we
but if the zombie hordes come, then I probably won't see you again. But if they don't come, you'll see me here next week.
Well, you could always
it's
do a
on-
live remote from the Winchester.
Okay, you
Yeah,
never know.
why can't you live stream it? And then on top of it, like, who's
Well,
to
I'm
say?
assuming the internet will go down, like if there's a zombie, apocalypse type scenario. I mean, it would be good if we could still have Wi-Fi. That'd be useful.
Yeah,
just have to
the
broadcast
zombies
from
aren't gonna
another
go
dimension.
attacking technology. Like the Wi-Fi will probably stay until like the equipment malfunctions on its own.
Yeah, they're
Okay,
not
cool.
chewing metal.
So
Yeah, that's
either
true.
way, I'll see you next week.
Whether it be in this location or not, no, that's still up in the air.
I want to play that game. DVH at the end of the world, zombie apocalypse. You're the main character.
Hell
He's
yeah.
got owl powers.
Yeah.
And
So-
special and dance moves, super moves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Able to
That's right.
teleport through spiral dimensions.
Yeah, you should be able to just pop back in the spiral dimension. You'll be safe.
There's zombies there.
Oh.
Well, that's
Well, well, for me, Monday I'll be unbagging my third video of opening packs of Five Below and Walmart. It's the last one I did. I've got to do some more. Also, I'll be filming a video where I've got this package from William. Is it William from the Nerdy Weds from their birthday thing that they did with Brian LCS and Durs, where I won something from that. I'm going to be unboxing something from Cliff that I won on Izzy's 3K giveaway. It was 3K,
2K
right?
giveaway, yeah.
2K. I keep wanting to say 3K.
I mean,
Pushing the-
it's from me and the council, but you know.
That's right. And I'm actually waiting to film and all that on Monday because I may or may not get my art print that I ordered from Shop. If y'all saw it on Instagram, Shop for Comics.
And where did you get that? Did you get that from a shop?
I talked to him
From
on
Shop
Instagram. I
Was
talked to him on.
was it shop? The shop
Yeah, you
that you got
shop the shop for the shop. in the
Right.
shop.
Were you able to shop at Shop?
Yeah.
I see.
all right. I'm gonna. Bye.
Bye, Travis. But I'm going to film that video to be determined when it comes out. Either Thursday or Friday. I'm going to be doing a spotlight, but I'm calling it Tony's Comics Spotlight Special Edition #1, where instead of doing a single issue, I'll be doing a complete storyline. I'm keeping it simple with a 4-issue series, and I figured the best one for me to do, to start it off with, is my favorite Batman story of all time, which is A Death in the Family. So I'm going to be doing the whole thing, 426 to 429. And then I'm 6 subscribers away from 300. The road to 300 continues. And once I get that done, maybe me and DVH we're talking about doing something cool, maybe. And then I'm going to be recording something for Travis soon. Right? What'd you call it, Travis? I forgot what you called it. Chatting with the community.
Chatting with the comic community in 2 weeks. So not this Saturday, but next Saturday we'll be recording for Chatting with the comic community.
I'll be doing that, and then we'll come back next Saturday for Into the Comiverse episode 22. I don't know what the topic's going to be, but it will be about comics. I guarantee it.
Hey, look at that. Cliff put
The
the shop for shop.
The shop for shop. And I wish I had. I'm going to end it with this since I told the story. I wish I had like something to show you, but if you are contemplating suicide, please call the National Suicide Hotline. Talk to someone, even if you don't talk to me. Talk to someone. And I'm going to end it with that. I want to thank everyone for hanging out in the panel and everybody hanging out in the chat. And if you're watching this on the replay, God bless all of y'all. Thank you for watching and subscribing and supporting the channel. It does really mean a lot to me. So until next time, everyone, I will see you later.